Hello everyone and welcome to Bramall Lane. With just 9 games of the season remaining, Barnsley are the visitors and Sheffield United find themselves just a point outside of the Championship's top 6. The next 60 minutes of build-up is free to view for all Sheffield United fans right here on SUTV Live, and we've got lots on the way as we count down to kick-off at 12:30. We'll hear from Paul Heckingbottom and Jack Lester. We'll look back to a classic match against Barnsley from 2017, and in an SUTV Live exclusive, Conor Hourihane talks to us about the highs and lows of playing in the Championship. SUTV Live is the only place where you can watch live coverage of today's game, and in order to do that, you will need to buy a match pass by going to the website sufc.co.uk. Well, a very good morning, an early start, a lunchtime kick-off for the Blades, and after a difficult week on the road, we're back at Bramall Lane, resplendent in glorious sunshine, enough to lift the mood of even, occasionally, the most cautious of men. Kevin Gage and Carl Asaba join me. Gagey, first of all, difficult week on the road, as we say. It'll lift everyone to be back here today, won't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic to be back, isn't it? I must say, it's truly beautiful downtown Bramall Lane this afternoon. It's absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to a really good game of football and hopefully 3 points.
Well, let's hope so, certainly. Alongside you, a man we all know well, Carl Asaba. You've had a few technical difficulties before we went on air, but you're in position, good to go, raring to go.
Yeah, really excited. Stunning scenes coming in. The compliments to the ground staff. It just is so well presented, giving the players the best opportunity and best service to play on. Really stunning. 55
minutes to go to kick-off, and you can already hear the PA system cranking into gear. So let's take a look at the Blades team news for this lunchtime's game then. Just the one change, gents, from the side that got that goalless draw at Blackpool in midweek. Conor Hourihane starts, Iliman Ndiaye drops to the bench. Is that any surprise?
No surprise whatsoever. I think Conor Hourihane was always going to come back into the team, playing against his old club as well, so I think that was an incentive. We were all quite surprised that the team he picked against Blackpool to play Gibbs, White and Ndiaye in the same side, especially a difficult away trip like Blackpool was going to be. That was always a weird one. So I've no surprises with the team, and I think it's a team that's more than good enough to get the job done this afternoon.
And if we can just raise that graphic quickly again, Carl, one thing that'll stand out to Blades fans immediately on the bench: Enda Stevens, John Fleck, Ollie McBurney. We've talked about this horrific injury list. That has got a heart on everybody.
Oh yeah, you're looking there. You've got proven players. The other night it looked like a crash. You know, it was a little such a young bench, but it was good for the young lads to get involved and see what first team travelling's about. But to see some of those, but to see Stevens back on the bench and Fleck, these are people who can get us over the line and get us up into, as high as possible. Really need them back.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, when you've got so many young players in the starting 11, you rely on the experienced players to show them the way and lead them through. One of those players, of course, is John Egan, and we caught up with him just before we went on air this morning. John, thanks for taking the time to join us. Obviously, it's been a difficult week or so on the road. How important is it for you and the rest of the guys to be back at home at Bramall Lane today?
Yeah, very important. It's a huge game for us. We've obviously had a lot of games lately, but it's on to the next one now, on to today, and trying to put in a good performance and get the 3 points.
And I suppose the pleasing news is, looking at the bench, a few of the guys are back fit and available, which, given the injury list we've endured over the last few weeks, is an absolute blessing.
Yeah, we've had a crazy run of injuries, but the lads are starting to come back now, which is good. For today's game and for the running, it's important to get people fit and have as strong a squad as we have to pick from. It's getting to crunch time now, and every game is going to be huge, so we're going to need everybody to be fit.
Yeah, and what about today's game? Because people might look at the table and say, well, Barnsley are struggling, but whenever you meet Barnsley, they tend to be fairly memorable games.
Yeah, I don't think they're struggling. I think they're probably one of the most informed teams at the moment, seeing a couple of their last results. They've obviously turned the corner. They've been playing well. They're fighting for something. We're fighting for something. So it's going to be a tough game. Hopefully we can put in our performance, what we've been doing at home especially, and the aim is to get 3 points, and that's the plan.
Yeah, and just finally on that note, with international break now around the corner, how important would it be for everybody in that dressing room to get that win today?
Very important, yeah. Listen, the next game is always the most important one, and as I've said, we're just looking to give it everything out there today and try and get the 3 points.
All right, John, thanks for your time. Go well today.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, mate.
So the thoughts of John Egan there ahead of this lunchtime game. Kevin, we mentioned at the top of the show, after a difficult week on the road, to be back here in front of a partisan crowd, knowing what's at stake as well, and when it's a young side essentially that's starting, could be the tonic that this team needs.
Yeah, I'm sure they're delighted to get back here. 2 tricky away ties. We were looking at those thinking, if we can get a win, fantastic. But I'd have been more than happy with 2 points from both those games. And just listening to Egan there, just interesting what he's saying. He was uncharacteristically poor against Coventry. He's usually really strong and solid, and he really got a run around that afternoon. It was good to see him bounce back against Blackpool, which was much more like the John Egan we know. So hopefully he got that hiccup out of the way, and he can lead the defence again this afternoon. Important, of course, that we maybe get a run of clean sheets again. That's going to help, isn't it? It's picking up points, clearly. So, yeah, he needs to be at the heart of that defence, marshalling it as he does usually. Yeah,
and Carl, I suppose, if we needed reminding in this league, the fact that you play at Coventry and then play at Blackpool, take only a point, it's week in, week out, game in, game out. This is a tough league to be playing in.
Yeah, and you can't, as you said, you can't really look at the standings in the division and know what you're coming up against. Coventry, those 2 strikers, well, and even the number 10 in behind, they were unplayable last weekend. They were incredible, but then they got walloped 2 days later because they're unable to replicate that form. So unfortunately, we came against them on their best day. We did have an off day, but you got to credit Coventry that day. They can't play that well week in, week out, or they would have won the league. So we regrouped well. I was really, like everyone, was disappointed with Egan's performance on Saturday, but he's human. He's allowed to drop his standards. He came back, was so solid against Blackpool. It was always going to be a tricky one. He stood up, he got the defenders around him. Young Gordon beside him I thought was brilliant. And Robbo was back to his commanding self. So yeah, he's got the boys, because I questioned how he plays without Bash beside him. But he's a top international player. He's a legend at the club, Egan, and he showed what he's about on Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the Championship table then, going into this lunchtime kick-off. We see Sheffield United there, gents, sat 9th in the table. A draw would be enough to take them into the top 6, but ideally, Kevin, we need a win this lunchtime.
A draw is disappointing, but I genuinely believe today is a must-win game for us. And I'll qualify that by saying, of course, it's not mathematically a must-win game. There's plenty of games to go after this. There's 8 games to go after this. But as we sit here with 9 games to go, we've got 6 games at home. That's been the key to our running for the last couple of months now. So we've got to be looking at the games thinking, we can take 3 points here. Bournemouth and Fulham are going to be tricky games, obviously, the 2 quality sides. QPR will be difficult as well. But then you've got Reading at home. You're expected to beat the likes of Reading. You're expected to beat the likes of Barnsley. And so the 6 home games are the crucial one, of which this is going to be one of them, of course. But we should have enough quality in our side and around our squad, to beat the likes of Barnsley down here at Bramall Lane. And our home form under Hecky has been quite superb. We played 8 games, we've won 6 of them, we've drawn 2. Even the ones we drew, we battered Hull City.
But
absolutely
the atmosphere has been incredible. The fans have really made the atmosphere wonderful.
The whole thing has been great, hasn't it? The players have been up for it, the crowd's been up for it, and the tempo's been great. So I don't see any reason why we're going to crack up at home and suddenly lose 3 games out of 6. So I expect us to just continue on and win our home games.
Well, let's turn the spotlight then on the visitors, Barnsley, because you look at the table and they're 22nd in the relegation zone, but there's been a marked pickup in form of late. That shows the last 5 games, Carl, but they've only lost 2 of their last 8 all told, and as you can see there, against Stoke, Fulham in particular, and then last week against Bristol City, they've had some good results.
Yeah, and the manager took over a sinking ship. It was very gloom and gloom there. And he didn't start very well, it was like a continuation, but I kept listening to his press conferences and he sounded like he knew it wasn't going to be easy. He didn't start thinking, oh, woe is me. He just sort of, he knew what he wanted to do and he progressed it. And then when they got their first win, his press conference was like they got, promotion. Yeah. And you just sensed, okay, the players will love this, and then the fans, and they've built on that. And their recent performances at Fulham, managing to scrape a draw against them, they're doing well. So there's going to be no pushovers. I just feel the atmosphere that this ground creates and the fans create, and how they're backing, that like our fans know we're threadbare, and they're giving the energy to our players, and they're helping them. And I think this is going to be a hell of an atmosphere for Barnsley to come into.
Yeah, and we have to show Barnsley some respect, don't we, here? Because you mentioned Carl Asaba, the manager. He took over in the middle of a run that saw them win once in 27 games from August the 14th to February the 8th. To go from that run to then taking 14 points out of the last 24. Clearly, this is a side that has a bit of character.
Yeah, they've had a couple of, we'll see when the teams come up, they've got a couple of loan players as well, which has improved them no end. I think it's Bassi, his name is, in Keenan. They've come in from Watford and Metz, I think, respectively. So the influx of a new player, we've played inside. You struggle for a while. All of a sudden, you get a few results, you get a couple of wins, and you feel a yard sharper. You feel 6 inches taller on the pitch, a little bit of confidence, and that builds a bit of momentum. So yeah, Barnsley are on a great run, but I still feel that we should have enough in our team, to stop them in their tracks and to win convincingly today.
Well, let's have a look at the Blades' final 9 games of the season, which starts with today's game against Barnsley. There's a graphic for you to get your heads around, fellas, so early in the day, isn't it? But there's some big games coming up there, notably home and away against QPR, Fulham on the final day of the season. Well, we'd like to think that Fulham will be promoted, done and dusted, and might not have anything to play for. But importantly, Carl, 6 of these 9 games right here at Bramall Lane.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And Kev alluded to it maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, how many home matches we had. And I think that's helped us with the changes and having such a young bench, that the home fans are being able to help, give the atmosphere. Because the away matches, even though we're taking 2,000 and 3,000 and 4,000, you're not getting the same levels of support. And each game there, you can put an argument for the winning and losing them equally. All the teams there are able to perform on their day. And you say about playing Fulham on the last day of the season, if they're already promoted, they'll be playing samba, football, flicks and tricks, and it can be just as hard.
Well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
So every match you play against the bottom team, it's hard because they want to stay up. You play against someone who's promoted, they've got no pressure. So every match is completely losable. But in what we have in our team and our squad and how the manager's getting the best from them, I still think the majority of those we can go on and win.
Without even looking at the other team's fixtures, without studying them at all, I would not swap their fixtures for ours. We couldn't ask at this stage of the season for more than having 6 home games and 3 away games. Even the away games aren't particularly difficult, are they? QPR is going to be a bit tricky, but Stoke are like mid-table to bottom third. And is it Cardiff we play away? Yeah, I mean they're down the bottom as well. They've got nothing to play for. They're not going to go down. They can't get in the playoffs. So yes, the away games are tricky, but again, we're quite capable of going there and picking up 3 points, 4 points out of those.
That's even without. What I'm happy is that our threadbare squad. I'd still prefer our threadbare team. Our injured team is worth more than half of the starting teams that we're coming against. I just think we're a great squad. We've all said how big a squad we've had, and thank God, because the manager's had to use it, and he's brought in the youngsters, and we've been very lucky with his management of our squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll leave it for the time being there, fellas, and we'll take a look back at the midweek trip to Blackpool, which, as it turned out, was a frustrating evening.
So Sander Berger gets this Sky Bet Championship game underway. Blackpool against the Blades. Here's Kevin Stewart, and he loses out to Iliman Ndiaye, and United now pour forward. Here's Billy Sharp into the penalty area, opens up for him. Sharp! Strong challenge by Norwood on Stewart. Gibbs White into Sharp. Berger calling for it. Sander Berger. Husband into Medine on the spin. Norwood out of his feet, shot from a long way out. That was ambitious. Connolly with the cross, Medine with a header. Dougal delivers the free kick, and that was a Free header, I think, in the end from Medine. Not a particularly good connection. But what about that for a clearance? Foderingham almost setting, gives White through, plays it short to Bowler instead. Wants it back, gets it back. Bowler with a strike, gets the crossbar. Closest to Blackpool have come, then Hamilton's strike blocked by Robinson. Real tussle there. Connolly might come in on this one. Don't think he got much of a touch on that. Bowler gets it back. Again, he's into the penalty area, gets the shot away, didn't get it right this time. Blades corner. In goes the cross. Away on as far as Norwood to strike. Takes a deflection, it's there. Ollie Norwood. His first goal of the season. What a time to get it. He's put United in front here at Bloomfield Road. Probably the first effort on target in the second half, but the flag is up. Wow. How long did we have to wait for that to come up? Here's Norrington Davis. Still going, Norrington Davis. Osborne, back to Howrahan. Chance to cross, in it goes. Away by Pateta. Osborne might win it back, he does. Berger tries to smash one across the 6-yard area.
So, a goalless draw, a point gained on the road. On Wednesday evening in the pre-game show, Kevin Gage, you said you'd be happy with a point. You still feel that way now?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, you could make a good case for it. We lost 2 points, we were robbed, etc., etc. You know, on reflection, I can see exactly why the referee has given that as an offside. Even the first disallowed goal was a bit of a scramble, and we looked at it again, and you think, yeah, probably it was a bit offside. But yeah, I was happy with the point. I think that's a point gained rather than 2 points lost. I don't think we didn't carve out some real clear-cut chances. We saw the one from Billy, we expect him to hit the target, and maybe Sander Berg should have done a bit better, but it's not as if we missed chance after chance and definitely should have won the game. Okay,
I'm going to ask a striker then about that offside, because as an observer on the evening, I've got to say, Carl, I didn't see why the goal was disallowed. You've got the referee's assistant looking across the line, so he can see Billy Sharp is in an offside position, but the referee is looking straight down the barrel and can see that Billy Sharp doesn't interfere. So as a former player, what's your view on that?
As I was saying to Kev, that you'd expect 8 times out of 10 to be called against you, just because it's an easy decision. They've got, to be fair to the refs and the assistants, they've got a fraction of time to make a decision. The linesman's seen people in an offside position. The referee's probably seen bodies in the line, and they're not able to, do these hawk eyes, and they're making an on-the-spot decision. And unfortunately, you can see where it's come from. I would have been fuming if I was, I wouldn't have never been able to hit the ball as clean as Norwood there. But to score a goal like that and in an important match, you'd be bitterly disappointed, but you hope that something will come towards the end of the season that will make up for it, because over a course of a season, these things tend to even themselves out.
I think what's disappointing is that we expect the linesman to raise his flag, because that's his job, that's what he's got to do. From his angle, he can't see who it's deflected off. The referee doesn't even go over and consult with the linesman, does he? He just sees the linesman raise a flag, and he knows Oliver Norwood's crashed that in. So the referee should have consulted with the linesman, said who's offside, etc., etc., and then had a little think about it. But he's too quick to make the decision.
It's a huge decision.
I suppose the irony as well is, if the Championship had VAR, at the very least, you've got to believe the VAR official would have buzzed down to the match official and said, you might want to have a look at this on the monitor.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, the perfect scenario, is it? We're not arguing with the offside. Yes, he's offside, but Billy can't make himself invisible in that moment. He stood on a football pitch, running away from goal, not even trying to gain an advantage there whatsoever.
Is he interfering with play?
Well, not really. But the worst bit of that is, even if Billy wasn't there, you wouldn't have thought the keeper would have got that. But the fact that Billy's there, it's just given them an out. But there's other instances where someone is in the way, and the keeper could have saved it. That one, I genuinely think if Billy wasn't on the pitch at that moment interfering in any way, I thought that ball's still going in, because it was hit so well and the keeper's body was going the wrong way anyway.
OK, fellas, suitably diplomatic. Let's hear from the manager, Paul Heckingbottom, who was a little bit more forthright in his opinion.
It was 2-0 win, weren't it? Not a goalless draw. Sanders' goal disallowed. Maybe 3 players playing him on side. Certainly the 2 defenders, the goalkeeper maybe in front, should never be disallowed. Second disallowed. You can all watch it back and make your own mind up. Ollie struck it from the edge of the box. Don't matter if it's come off Robbo or their defender. Not one of our players in the line of sight of the goalkeeper. Not one. Not one. It's actually gone in the opposite corner, away from everyone. The only people in between the ball and the goalkeeper are Blackpool players. So, yeah, it would have been a hard-fought 2-0 win. In the end, we've got to settle for a point.
Have you managed to speak to the referee after the game? You had a kind of explanation?
You can't straight away, no. You can't. You've got to wait, so I'll go in a minute.
In terms of the overall performance tonight and the response you got after the weekend, were you pleased with the nature of it?
Yeah, in terms of application, the strength, the character shown was good. We started the game strongly. On a pitch, you can see it's not a great pitch for how I wanted to play football, so we had to adapt against a team who's been on the longest goal scoring run, so we know their threats, and Neil's got them playing very well. They're dangerous, to keep you honest. So we spoke about that and preparing, and we knew it might be a tough, hard-fought game, which it was. And so, like I said, we deserved the officials to do the job properly as well.
Certainly seemed like you had the edge in the first half. Second half, it maybe took until the substitution to really get going.
Yeah, I just felt we lost a little bit of control, didn't we? And obviously with Illiman and Morgan in the team, there's a fair bit of flair, and at times it looks fantastic, but at other times when it's not coming off, it left us a little bit open. So we needed to make that sub to get us that little bit more control. Got us the ball back, allowed us to get up the pitch and build momentum without still having the quality. But like I said, we were prepared for it not being a night of quality. We were prepared to bludgeon his way past Blackpool, and we did that, like I said, and we've been let down.
So, a suitably frustrated Paul Heckingbottom. Jack Robinson was one of the players on the pitch for both the disallowed goal incidents, and it's fair to say he wasn't happy with either decision.
Decisions from the referee, 2 goals both onside. I honestly don't know what they've seen in the decisions. They were poor all night, and they've cost us at the end of the day, because it was a scrappy game, but obviously with the 2 goals we had, we could have done enough, and they've cost us 3 points tonight, the officials.
I think especially the second one, I think we were all scratching our heads as to what it could have been, because it seemed like the keeper certainly wasn't unsighted. Was it you that it got a touch off in the middle, or who did it hit?
Yeah, it got a touch off me back, but obviously 2 yards onside in front of the defender. And when you ask the referee who it came off, they don't know, because they can't tell you, it's embarrassing, honestly. When it's big decisions and you've got points and teams going for playoffs, they need to get these decisions right, and they're just not getting it. And you know, we've been hard done over tonight, and we have a few times in the past, probably 6 months, we've had a few, but yeah, disappointing tonight not to get the 3 points.
Does the context around that and the race for the playoffs make it even more difficult to take tonight, with other teams picking up wins as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's massive to get 3 points tonight, especially going into the weekend against Barnsley. We've looked at the results, you know, pretty much everyone's gone against us apart from Huddersfield getting beat, so as I say, we can only look forward to Saturday now and get the 3 points there.
Certainly from a defensive perspective, how much did the team need a response after the weekend? Yeah,
obviously conceding 4 goals and some poor performances, you know, including myself, but tonight kept a clean sheet again, and back to defensive strengths that we've been doing with the clean sheet and stuff like that. So as defenders we can be happy, but obviously disappointed in the end.
So frustration all round, but important to remember it was a point gained on the road, and Jack Robinson referenced it there, Gagey. A clean sheet, given what had gone a few days earlier at Coventry, that was important defensively for this team, wasn't it?
It was vital to bounce back defensively from the Coventry performance, which really came out of left field. Didn't see that coming at all, and we were very, very rocky against Coventry. So it was good to get a clean sheet, and all the defenders did their jobs okay. And it would be fantastic, wouldn't it, for the last 9 games, you know, to get on a bit of a run of clean sheets again, like we experienced, you know, a couple of months back. I mean, it's asking a lot. We are going to let in the odd goal or 2, of course we are. But defensively, we need to be as solid as we possibly can. Because the beauty about this Sheffield United side is, with the attacking flair we do have in the side, not just in the side, but on the bench as well, with Njai and some of the others on there, we're always going to create chances, always going to score goals. So if we can stay solid, you know, we have a hell of an opportunity to, you know, to win enough games to get our place in that top 6.
And what about Wes Fodringham, the goalkeeper, Carl? Because his maturity, or the way he's matured during the course of this season, from not being first choice to now being the first name on the team sheet pretty much. And I know you were at the Coventry game last weekend when he was man of the match despite shipping 4 goals.
Yeah, but what I will say, we're focused on the defence on Coventry, but when we've done well and we've defended well as a team, the attackers have done their part and we closed down. Coventry had 27 attempts on our goal. It was a record last weekend. Wes was insane, but you've got to look at not the defence. It's not Egan on his own being bad or Robert. If we're giving the ball away cheaply up front, like Gibbs White and Sharp were insane against Middlesbrough and been brilliant, but that last game against Coventry, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And if you're giving the ball away, then the ball keeps coming at the defence, and the defence are getting blamed. But we win and lose as a team, and if the strikers aren't doing their part, not just scoring, the high closing down, which has been a real important part of Hecky's play since he's come, our high press has been incredible. If a few parts aren't working, then the other team's going to be on top of us. I feel that the defence, I was really critical, but as a team, it didn't work against Coventry. But then against Blackpool the other night, you could see everyone was working together again. Whether Hecky said that he had problems on the training field, it looks like they were able to get out on the field and work on these things. So, it's nice that you can hear a press conference and then see a couple of days later that they've been able to put things right. And it was another great performance from Wes, and you do feel inspired by Wes. But as a team, we defend well as a team, not just 1 or 2 parts.
And we've already touched upon it, Gagey. There are youngsters in this team. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because as a youngster, you probably only get your chance because of injuries to the rest of the squad. But equally, you're being exposed at the business end of the season when the stakes are the highest. What about somebody like Kyron Gordon, who's taking his chance now?
He's done extremely well. He hasn't really put a foot wrong, to be honest. He's been substituted a couple of times, but that's nothing to do with his performance. It's just to change something around tactically. But yeah, he's been solid, he's been strong, he's been willing to get forward, not in the way that we see Basham doing, because Basham's a one-off. Yeah. We're not going to replace Basham. No one like him, in the league. So Kyron Gordon tries to get forward at the right times. His distribution's been okay. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And it augurs well for the future. He is only, whatever he is, 19, 20, so he's still got time inside.
You've got to learn at some point, haven't you?
Yeah, he'll be a much, much better player next season for the 6, 8, 10 games, whatever he has had this season. He'll come into pre-season next season thinking, do you know what, I could be a first team regular here. He'll have a good pre-season. He may even get, go right from the start. So it's doing him and the others a world of good.
But what I've seen from Gordon is different aspects of his performance, Kev. Against Wolves, I thought everything was good. Against Blackpool the other night, in the air he was commanding. Coventry, he was passing the ball well. So he's got all these different attributes to his game, which, if they all click, and if he can get his passing game, his defense, when he's reading it, his aerial game, winning his headers, if he gets them all synced and he's performing each one, which we've seen outstanding in various games together, he's going to be one hell of a player.
Yeah. We're asking a lot of centre-halves, aren't we? Because we're expecting them to be, sometimes they get in the side. When Jack Robinson first got in the side, we were expecting him to be Jack O'Connell and storm up the line. It's the same with Kyron Gordon. We're not expecting him to be Chris Basham. Just be Kyron Gordon. Be a right-sided, solid, good centre-half. And he's done that.
And if you've got somebody like Kyron Gordon learning on the job, does the same apply, I'm thinking, to somebody like Ollie Norwood? Have we seen his role evolve over the course of this season from this player that's spraying 15, 30-yard passes across the field to someone a little bit more considered now, dictating the pace of the game?
Yeah, we've been alluding to this in commentary quite a lot because it's been noticeable how Oliver Norwood is getting in more tackles and he's brought a little bit more physicality to his game. And I think it's coming back to what Carl said just a few seconds ago when talking about Gibbs White and defending from the front. And I think the whole team is more inclined now to get their foot in a bit more. I think when we played with Slav, it was let's sit back, and we didn't have the intensity and the tempo. We weren't playing on the front foot, to coin a phrase that everybody uses these days. But now we are, and now we're willing to engage players a bit more all around the pitch. And I think Norwood epitomises that,
but
getting his foot in midfield.
Norwood's actually, because we know what we get from Norwood, you have the orchestra. He can ping balls here and he can read play. But because his playing partner now, he hasn't got Lundstrom beside him who's everywhere and putting him. He's actually adding to his game. I know he gets much maligned and he misses the odd pass, but he's still doing those passes. But on top of that, he's putting in tackles. He's leaving people in heaps. So instead of him just sitting back and saying, well, I'm doing what I can do, this person next to me is not actually able to do what the other person... He's actually making up for the shortfall in getting his foot in where Hourihane maybe isn't or Njai isn't. He's actually coming on. I think Norwood's... I love watching Norwood. I think he's brilliant. He misses the odd pass, but he makes 80% incredible passes. But now he's giving us more, and he's just trying so hard for the boys and for the fans.
But you'll know this as a former striker yourself as well. If, as Gagey says, you've got players putting their foot in and breaking up the opposition's attacks, that immediately puts you on the front foot and makes your job, if you're Billy Sharp, a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's easier. If someone's going, you react as well. Instead of if you're all sort of waiting, you miss the moment. If you know Norwood's going to go, so I'm going to go, or Gibbs White's going to go, so because if Gibbs White goes and you don't, you're the one who's letting the team down. You know, they play round Gibbs White and he won't get the ball, but everyone in your team and the management knows who's let the team down. So it's good collectively. I think since Hecky's been here, our pressing's been brilliant, and when we do press, we're really a really good team. But when we get the ball down, then normally we get to press, and when we win the ball, the last couple of games have been so difficult. The Coventry conditions, we couldn't press and then get the ball down because the conditions wouldn't allow. Same with Blackpool. Hopefully today, on this beautiful pitch that the groundsman's provided, we'll be able to press and then get the ball and play our stuff. So I'm confident for today. I really am.
Okay, as you say, beautiful looking pitch, perfect conditions. It should be a serene environment, shouldn't it, for today's game? It's time to look back into the Sheffield United archives at a classic match in a South Yorkshire derby against Barnsley. And it's fair to say we've picked one out that doesn't look nearly as serene as those conditions out there behind us do.
Sheffield United host Barnsley this afternoon, seeking to continue their fantastic form at Bramall Lane following back-to-back championship defeats on the road. The hosts have lost just 2 of their last 14 league matches against Barnsley, but Barnsley are unbeaten in the last 4 trips to Bramall Lane. Observed. Fantastic atmosphere inside this ground. Sheffield United with a strike on goal early on, and it's Billy Sharp. So close to giving the home side's an early lead. It was a fabulous save from Davis. Reacted well, reacted instinctively, and keeps the score sheet blank. Offside just reprocess possession. Shifting the ball nicely. Options inside the penalty area as well. Goes across the face of goal, and Sheffield United do have the opener. Billy Sharp on hands, just as he did on the opening weekend of the championship season. Well, he was off balance slightly, was Billy Sharp. Goal scorer's instinct just directs the ball goalwards. Deserved the early leads. And Clark just clashing with Angus MacDonald off the ball, and referee Tim Robinson have to come across to sort 1 or 2 things out here. Just tangled with MacDonald, but it's this moment there. Will it be a colour? Will it be yellow or red? It's red. Angus MacDonald and Leon Clark. Been outplayed for large passages of the game. Nick an equalising goal. They've got some defending to do here, though. The face it goes off the post and trickles almost apologetically away to relative safety. Home side so close to making it 2. Davis did very well to make contact on the initial ball.
So 1 goal, 2 red cards. Importantly though for the Blades, 3 vital points from that matchup back in 2017 against today's opponents, Barnsley. A reminder, of course, we are just 20 minutes away from kick-off this lunchtime here at Bramall Lane, and this is the only place where you can see exclusive match coverage throughout today's game. But you'll need to buy your match pass first, as you can see on the screen there. Head to our website, www.sufc.co.uk. OK, time for something a little more light-hearted now. It's the next instalment in our series, which, as you'll see shortly in a minute why, we've aptly named What's in the Box.
What is?
Yeah.
If it's alive, I will bang someone.
Bruh.
This is so obvious. This is awful. Flip flops.
Wrong. Sandals.
But that's not what I'm trying to say. I don't want it.
Put your sleeves up.
Not put my hand in it. Not put my hand in it. It'll be a box of like jelly or something. Like, see, man. I feel no moisture in that. You lot are done with that.
Just give it a grab.
I swear to God.
Give it a little grab.
I'm not putting.
Deeper.
Like beans or something. Why are you putting my hands in beans, bro? What is wrong with you?
That was
I'll chance you getting this. Grab it, bud.
Get his face. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, give it.
What would you have called it?
Like clay.
Oh,
Can I play that, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh
My gosh.
Oh.
Hey, you better run. You better run.
And a reminder that following today's game, we head into an international break. So a couple of weeks before SUTV Live is next on the air. Saturday, the 2nd of April, a 3 p.m. kickoff for the visit to Stoke City. We'll be on air from 2 p.m. Ashley Wilmot will be in this seat alongside the ever-present Kevin Gage and a debutant, David McGoldrick. Gagey, we're used to seeing him on the pitch. What are we expecting from him in the studio?
Well, on the pitch, he's an intelligent, composed, thoughtful footballer, so I'm expecting him to be exactly the same as a guest.
Well, you've given him the big build-up. He's got a lot to live up to, hasn't he? We'll see in a couple of weeks. OK, let's take a look at the team news for both sides heading into today's game then. Starting with the visitors, Barnsley, first of all. We've already mentioned they're on a decent run, having lost just 2 of their last 8 games, and they've had some good results of late. Michael Hellick scored last week in a 2-0 win over Bristol City, as did Carlton Morris. Carl, what do we make of that? Because there's not many well-known names there, are there?
No, but I want to see Bassey. I heard a lot about him, and he's been very important for them. From all I remember, the game down at their place, we had Moose and McBurney play up front, and they ran them ragged. And Mousset, I was going on normal Asaba rant. Mousset's going to now go on, play every game, score 20 goals. You know.
But that's what we like. You're ever the optimist.
Well, I'm just an idiot. You know, everyone else knew he was going to, just pull a muscle from eating a pizza or something silly, which he did. But that match, they were very passive. Barnsley. They win possession. They were slow. They didn't have any direct. They didn't have a pattern of play. But now under the new manager, it's going to be completely different, and we've got to be respectful of, they're going to carry a threat. But I just think if we're on our mettle and we're in a high tempo at the start, the fans are going to be cheered because we also feel we've been suffered an injustice. We're playing against the referee who, for 2 matches, have completely bewildered me. The Millwall match here and Blackburn match here are 2 of the worst reffing performances I've ever seen.
We need to keep him on side. We haven't kicked him on anger
yet.
You can't
hear us.
They can hear you everywhere.
A lot of people watch this, but I don't think the match officials do pre-match. No, so I think our fans are going to be very passionate, very vocal, because we've had the injustices of before, we've had the referee before, and it's a local derby. I think it's going to be a really high tempo, quick start, and you know, you've got Gibbs White playing at home again in front of the fans who adore him, and I'm expecting him to have 10 shots in the first 5 minutes.
Well, he's been called up to the England under-21 squad this week as well. Carlton Morris is Barnsley's top scorer with just 6 so far this season. Let's give you a reminder of the Blades team news. The one change, Kevin, going into today's game, Conor Hourihane returns to the starting lineup. But it's worth remembering that for all Barnsley in a lowly position, a win today for them, temporarily at least, would take them out of the bottom 3. There's a job for this team to do here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're looking at it from a Sheffield United perspective, obviously, but Barnsley, I mean, it's a huge game for them, not only to get them out of the relegation zone, but local derby, as Sabs has just mentioned. You know, I really, really hope that we go straight from the first whistle this afternoon. I fully expect us to. I think the fans are going to be crucial today. I think being a local derby obviously helps as well. It won't actually affect the players, it being a local derby. It's just too important for that. You know, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
Do you think they're coming here for a point? Do you think they're going to will they come at us or just sit back?
No, I think they'll sit back. To be fair, I don't think any team will come
that'll
to Bramall
suit
Lane.
us there, won't it?
I think with our fans as well, if they sit back and we can get a bit of pressure on them, I think that could be their undoing. You know, I think at this place, with our fans in a derby, you've got to come and have a go, because it can just, the momentum of wave after wave after wave can just overwhelm you. So I hope they do, you know.
I don't think any team comes to Bramall Lane and thinks, you know, we're going to really get after them, we're going to take the game to them in the first 20 minutes. You know, they might think they might want to, but I don't think they'll be allowed to do that. And I think if we start correctly and properly, which I've absolutely no doubt we will, I think we get on top of them very early.
Well, and let's be honest, of late, the only team we've seen try to do that and do it with any sort of success was Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, Forest were probably the best side we've seen down here this season. I don't think Barnsley, I know they're on a bit of form, but I don't think they're as good as Nottingham Forest, are they? They haven't got the quality in their side.
Blackburn also, they had a good 10 minutes, and then Robbo did that tackle on halfway line that woke everyone up. So you're not going to see that same level of quality, in all due respect, from Barnsley that Forest possess and Blackburn possess. So I think today is about our players.
We need to get this ground absolutely rocking today. You know, a proper Sheffield United Bramall Lane atmosphere, which will shake Barnsley to their boots, literally, and get on top of them early on, and go on from there and win the game.
A start like we had against Swansea a few weeks back would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Great.
Absolutely, yeah.
OK, time for an SUTV Live exclusive now. Conor Hourihane came off the bench against Blackpool in that goalless draw on Wednesday night. Our own Matt Young caught up with him a little earlier this week as he talked us through the rollercoaster ride that is the Championship.
Conor, first of all, looking back on Wednesday night, I'd imagine it was quite frustrating in the end.
Yeah, it was frustrating, to be fair. Yeah, there was a couple of goals obviously not given. I think everyone's kind of spoken about that. Thought it was a decent away performance, had a tough ground, decent atmosphere from them as well. Pitch wasn't great, so to kind of nick the win would have been great, but look, it wasn't to be, and hopefully we can get the 3 points come Saturday.
You're right, it was a tough game, and that could prove to be a useful point. What does it say about the character of the side in difficult circumstances?
Yeah, massive, of course. Look, it's not been easy at the minute. You know, countless injuries. You know, fixtures have been thick and fast. So yeah, it's not been easy, but good character from the boys, and it might be an important point come the end of the season.
How have you and the boys managed to cope with this schedule with the injuries?
Yeah, just gotta do what we have to do, of course. You know, recover well, sleep well, eat well. You know, the staff behind the scenes have been doing their all to get the boys ready. Obviously, with the travel and all that, it's not easy, but look, that's what we're here for. That's what we're paid to do. You know, whoever's ready and whoever's fit and ready to go come Saturday or whatever night it may be, we have to be ready. And it's a group effort to make sure we pick up as many points as we can come every match day.
And the mentality now, with one game before the international break, is it a case of, you know, unload the tanks, you know, do everything you can and then try and get 1 or 2 bodies back?
Exactly, that's it. Yeah, look, come Saturday, just give everything to get the 3 points, and then, like you said, after international break we should be in a better place. Like I said before, bodies are light at the minute. You know, not much chance to kind of rotate or whatever. So look, we just empty it out, like you said, come Saturday, and then be in a better place after the break.
Of course, it's a welcome international break for the club, but you yourself, no break, because I imagine you'll be away with Ireland. Yeah, that's been the case for the last 4 or 5 years of my career. Always every international break heading away with Ireland. It's, you know, love meeting up with the lads and
you know, playing for Ireland is pretty special for myself, and you know, people like John as well who'll be there. So yeah, really looking forward to that as well.
So Barnsley at the weekend, imagine a special game for you and for one or two others in the United camp.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of connections with Barnsley here at the minute, obviously with the manager and you know, with Ollie McBurney and Alex Bailey who's here, and a few more, Nathan in the gym. So yeah, it's a special one. But look, come Saturday, you know, we're all here to get the 3 points for this club at the minute. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to it.
Plenty of highlights for you at Oakwell, a couple of Wembley trips as well. It was a special moment for you in your career.
Yeah, look, love my time at Barnsley. You know, I really kind of kicked on there in my career when I was there, and you know, have fond memories, and still, you know, think so highly of the club. So it'd be nice to see one or two faces that are still there come Saturday. But yeah, like I said, get the 3 points for Sheffield United at the minute is the key factor.
And what do you make of the current Barnsley side? Because they've picked up some good results in recent weeks.
Yeah, they're on a turn, which is good to see. You know, I wouldn't like them to see the club get relegated at all. You know, so you know, when we're not playing them, I like to see them pick up points and avoid relegation. So yeah, they've turned it around a little bit, and credit to them. They were probably down at one stage, but they've given themselves a fighting chance. So yeah, all the best to them for the end of the season. You know.
And for all the fans, they've been great in the recent home games. How important would it be in this South Yorkshire derby?
Yeah, massive. Obviously, you know, Bramall Lane's been a kind of a fortress for us over the last few months since the manager's taken charge. So another 3 points on Saturday would be special. Yorkshire derby, like you said, and then after the break, kind of kick on again from then in a strong position.
The thoughts of midfielder Conor Hourihane there. 10 minutes to go to kick off here at Bramall Lane, and a reminder that the only place you can see full match coverage exclusively live of the Blades against Barnsley this lunchtime is right here on SUTV Live. For that, you'll need to buy your match day pass, and you can do so by going to www.sufc.co.uk. Carl Asaba, you were saying during that interview with Conor there that you really like him because he has a quality about him when he's on the pitch.
Yeah, he adds quality. His passing, he's like a mini Norwood, if you will. He doesn't pass it as long and as quick, but he has the quality. He did a disguised pass for one of the goals, I think, against Swansea, which was brilliant. He's got it in his locker. His set pieces are great. I'm getting excited now because I feel, no, you know I get excited, but I just think when we have tempo and the boys are all working and we have the work rate, if we match the other team with our work rate and our tempo, our actual technique is brilliant. And the last couple of games, well, definitely at Coventry, I don't think we worked as hard. But in front of the fans, you know, the atmosphere is building. The work rate has been there every time, so that's why I'm excited and I'm optimistic, because I think the other part, the technical bit, with the boys, they're just a good bunch of footballers. I enjoy watching them pass the ball, and enjoy the other night. I thought he did well. He manipulated the ball. And it's one of those that I feel quite relaxed that we're going to get a performance today.
And well, we certainly hope so. But Kevin, Conor returns to the starting lineup today, and it's only a few weeks ago we were saying quite openly we felt that partnership between Hourihane and Norwood was the best that Sheffield United had.
Yeah, they complement each other very well. I'd like to see him burst forward a little bit more, to be fair, because John Fleck used to make those bursting runs, didn't he? We used to love watching him. And we've got that on the right-hand side with Berger bursting forward on the right. And we don't seem to have that on the left as much.
A bit more goal threat from Hourihane, don't you?
Yeah, we do. He's getting a couple of shots in. He's been unlucky with a couple of shots, but you want to see him bursting forward and getting more strikes at goal. And we need the left-hand side of our attack to be more creative as well. Norrington Davis, he's done extremely well. He's had a good season. Not quite as creative as Ender Stevens in and around the box. So that left side needs to function a little bit better to match the creativity we have on the right side. What also is happening is Morgan Gibbs White drifts over to the right more than the left, so that we've got too much emphasis on the right hand side. We need stuff from the left.
Well, Kevin, the Rocky music has just struck up on the PA system. They obviously know you're inside the stadium. We're going to have to let you go to get to the commentary position now, but before we go, how do you see this one going then today?
I see us being at it from the first whistle all the way through, and I think, and I sincerely hope, we get a comfortable victory, 2-0.
2-0 we would certainly take. 2-0 would be enough to see the Blades rise to fourth in the championship table for a few hours at least. Kevin Gage, thank you for the time being, but for now let's hear from Jack Lester ahead of today's game.
And in the last few weeks, and they're a team that we've got to be ready for. Like I said, they've had a little upturn in form, and it'll be a good game.
psychologically they're on their uppers right now. They believe they have a chance, whereas perhaps a month or so ago they didn't, I suppose.
Yeah.
Does that put a different slant on it for Sheffield United?
No, we're, like I say, we've got 9 games, 6 at home. We've been brilliant at home. And we've got to go and produce a top energetic performance against them if we're going to win. And that's the focus. I think we're probably focused on our performance, and we've tended to do that a lot, especially at home with the fans behind us. You know, I think it's fair to say we've produced some really good performances, but we'll have to find some energy. And I think it's that. If you look back when you were playing, you're doing a tough running session, you get that one last run before you get a shower. It's like that. You know, we've got this one last game before we go and get a well-earned break, and we'll get energy from that, I think.
You'd hope for that last push from the terraces as well, wouldn't you, before that break?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fans helped us through the Blackburn game. I think that was a special night, really. How the fans dragged us through that. It was it was a real special night to be involved in, and I said that all the time. We've got to ignite the fans and give them something to shout about. I think we've done that. If the whistle goes 2:30 on Saturday and we've won, we're 4th, so the incentive's there. And they will need a bit of help, the players. They have had a right slog of games, and it was Wednesday night and Saturday. If the fans can inject a bit more energy into us, that wouldn't half help.
Kickoff is fast approaching here at Bramall Lane, just a few minutes away, and a reminder that the only place you can see today's game is exclusively live, right here on SUTV Live. You'll need a match pass to do so. To get that, go to the website sufc.co.uk. Carl Asaba. We're looking at pictures out there on the pitch here at Bramall Lane, bathed in glorious sunshine, but Jack Lester made a really good point, didn't he, there? We've spoken about home field advantage, and he actually made the point that in several games, these fans have dragged this team through.
Yeah, and I made the comment about how the fans can really pull your performances up, and in relation to McBurney. I wrote all the stuff. I couldn't defend his goal record. You know, as a striker, if you're not scoring 1 in 3, 1 in 4, you'd be disappointed. He's not scored 1 in 32 or 33. But the fans can impact it. The fans here get behind you and they improve they can get a performance out of you. And I feel we've got six big performances coming from our players because we're at home. You know, I can't guarantee what we get away from home from the players, but I know each performance at home is going to be fully energised because it's such a great stadium and the fans are so involved in this season.
Okay, prediction time. I don't know anybody associated with the Blades more optimistic, more positive than you. South Yorkshire derby, top 6 place in the Championship table on the line. How's it going to go?
I can't see past 3-0. I think it's going to be a convincing performance and get us into our 2-week break where everyone can regroup. And this is our standing team. You know, the manager's done incredible. Everyone's got through difficult periods, but I just think we're going to have too much. Our standing team have got too much.
Well, let's certainly hope so. Anything other than a defeat will see the Blades climb back into the top 6 for a few hours, at least this afternoon, heading into the international break. The players are making their way out onto the pitch, so without further ado, let's take you to our commentary team. In a moment, you'll hear from Kevin Gage again, but first of all, it's Matt Young.
That's Richard. It's the final game before the international break and a crucial South Yorkshire derby before the Blades and Barnsley. Tribute of Avid United, points to maintain a playoff push, whilst Barnsley now within 2 points of 4th bottom Reading in their battle for the championships in line. Paul Heckingbottom lines up against his former side for the first time as Blades boss, looking for United to ignite at home once again before a much-needed and well-earned break following a punishing schedule in February and March. Kevin Gage joins me. One of those games this afternoon, you look at it and you think if United can just empty the tank for one last time, it's a nice 2-week break to rest and recover before the final clash of the season.
Yeah, it's a big game, isn't it? Really big game for Sheffield United this afternoon. As you say, if we can scrape a win, or if we can win comfortably, let's not hope to scrape it. Let's hope to win comfortably. We get that 2-week break. There's of course a few players going off on international duty as well, so we hope they come back fit and ready to go. and ready for the rest of the season. But fantastic atmosphere here at the Lane this afternoon. Just perfectly set up for a